What car does Nicolas Cage drive in Gone in 60 Seconds? In that movie, I was driving a Shelby GT500 from the 60s.
He owned castles in Europe, a haunted mansion in New Orleans, a private island in the Bahamas, and even a dinosaur skull worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. At his peak, Nicolas Cage was making $20 million per film and had earned over $150 million. But within a few years, it was all gone. He wasn't just broke. He owed millions to the IRS, sold off nearly everything he owned, and became the punchline of Hollywood excess. This is the true story of how one of Hollywood's most talented and unpredictable stars went from Oscar-winning royalty to financial freefall, and how he eventually fought his way back, not with fame, but with relentless work and a lesson learned the hard way. This is Golden Empire, and today we bring you the dramatic rise, fall, and redemption of Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was born into privilege, but he wanted more than a name. Born Nicholas Kim Coppola in 1964, he's the nephew of legendary director Francis Ford Coppola. But Cage didn't want to ride on family fame. He changed his last name to Cage, inspired by the Marvel character Luke Cage, to forge his own identity. And he did. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Cage rose to stardom with unforgettable performances in films like Raising Arizona, Leaving Las Vegas, Face Off, and Con Air. He became known for his wild intensity, unpredictable choices, and complete emotional commitment to every role. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor for Leaving Las Vegas in 1996, and by the early 2000s, he was one of the highest-paid actors in the world, making up to $20 million per movie. By the mid-2000s, Nicolas Cage had amassed a personal fortune estimated at $150 million. But that's when things took a turn. Instead of playing it safe, Nicolas Cage started spending money faster than he could earn it, and in ways that stunned even the most extravagant celebrities. Here are just some of the outrageous items Cage purchased. 15 luxury homes around the world, including a $25 million Newport Beach mansion, 2 European castles, one in Germany and one in England, and the famous haunted LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans. A $3 million private island in the Bahamas, undeveloped and uninhabited. A 70-million-year-old dinosaur skull for $276,000, which he later had to return after discovering it was stolen. A $500,000 Lamborghini once owned by the Shah of Iran. A fleet of Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, and Ferraris. Multiple exotic animals, including cobras and an octopus. A 9-foot-tall burial tomb shaped like a pyramid, purchased in New Orleans for his future grave. And it didn't stop there. Cage collected rare comic books, medieval weapons, shrunken pygmy heads, and even a 2-headed snake. At one point, his property taxes, maintenance bills, insurance costs, and staff salaries were costing him millions every month. Cage once said he believed in owning what inspires you, but inspiration came with a price, and the bills started to pile up fast. By 2007, the cracks in Nicolas Cage's financial empire were becoming impossible to ignore. Despite earning tens of millions from films like National Treasure, Ghost Rider, and Lord of War, he was drowning in debt. In 2009, the IRS filed a tax lien against him for more than $6.2 million in unpaid taxes for just 1 year, 2007. Investigations soon revealed he had accumulated over $14 million in total tax debt, spanning multiple years. And that was just the beginning. To make matters worse, Cage had trusted his fortune to a business manager named Samuel Levin. When the financial chaos became public, Cage sued Levin for negligence and fraud, claiming the advisor had failed to pay taxes, mismanaged funds, and led him into ruin. Levin countersued, stating that Cage's problems came from his own reckless overspending. Regardless of who was to blame, the outcome was devastating. Cage was forced to sell off nearly everything. His beloved comic book collection, including Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman, sold for over $2 million at auction. His castles and mansions were either sold at a loss or foreclosed. The private island was listed and eventually let go. His treasured dinosaur skull returned to the Mongolian government. Worse, he had to take on any acting job that came his way, not for the art, but for survival. Between 2009 and 2019, Nicolas Cage appeared in dozens of low-budget, straight-to-video films, often criticized for their quality. Critics mocked him, Audiences questioned his choices. The industry, once in awe of his talent, began to treat him like a joke. But what few people realized at the time was this: Cage wasn't trying to stay relevant. He was trying to pay off every penny he owed, and that's exactly what he did. Unlike many fallen stars who never recover, Nicolas Cage refused to give up. He didn't declare bankruptcy, he didn't disappear, he didn't make excuses. Instead, he worked, constantly. For over a decade, Cage accepted role after role, sometimes filming 4 or 5 movies per year. While critics mocked the volume, Cage saw it as a way forward, a path to freedom. And eventually, the public began to notice something else. Even in the worst films, Cage gave everything. His performances remained intense, raw, and fearless. Then came the turning point. In 2021, Cage starred in the critically acclaimed indie film Pig, a quiet, emotionally powerful story about a man searching for his stolen truffle pig. The film shocked audiences. Gone was the chaotic Cage from action blockbusters. What remained was a deep, soulful actor at the peak of his craft. Critics called it his best performance in decades, and suddenly, Nicolas Cage was being taken seriously again. Offers started rolling in: better films, bigger budgets, and genuine respect. In 2022, he starred in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, a self-aware action comedy where Cage plays a fictional version of himself. The movie was both hilarious and heartfelt, and a perfect symbol of his career. Wild, misunderstood, but ultimately human. Cage has since repaid nearly all of his debt and continues working on projects he believes in. His name no longer represents a punchline. It represents resilience. 3 surprising facts about Nicolas Cage. 1. He was almost cast as Superman in a canceled Tim Burton movie. In the late 1990s, Nicolas Cage was set to play Superman in a film called Superman Lives, directed by Tim Burton and written by Kevin Smith. Cage even did costume fittings. Footage and photos later leaked online. The project was canceled after years of development, but the idea of Nicolas Cage as Superman became a cult legend. Ironically, Cage is a massive Superman fan and even named his son Kal-El Superman's birth name. 2. He once bought a haunted house for its history. Beyond the LaLaurie mansion mentioned earlier, what many don't know is that Cage deliberately bought it because of its terrifying reputation. He was fascinated with the paranormal and wanted to write a horror novel while living inside it. According to him, strange events did happen in the house, and he ended up selling it during his financial collapse. 3. He's a practicing method actor. Even in extreme ways, Cage is known for going to unusual extremes for his roles. For Birdie, 1984, he had 2 teeth pulled without anesthesia to feel real pain. For Vampire's Kiss, 1988, he ate a live cockroach on camera. Not once, but 3 times for multiple takes. His unpredictable and obsessive style is part of what gave birth to the phrase Cage Rage, referring to his explosive, over-the-top acting style that's become iconic. Nicolas Cage's journey is one of Hollywood's most extreme. He reached a financial high most actors never dream of, then lost it all in one of the industry's most infamous collapses. But his story isn't just about money. It's about identity, passion, and survival. He was a man who bought castles and islands because he believed he could. A man who collected strange artifacts because they made him feel alive. A man who, when faced with financial disaster, didn't run. He worked harder than ever before. And in the end, he didn't just rebuild his fortune, he rebuilt his legacy. Today, Nicolas Cage stands not just as an Oscar winner or action star, but as a symbol of raw talent, eccentric brilliance, and a rare kind of perseverance. Because sometimes the most powerful comebacks don't begin with applause. They begin in silence, with one man refusing to give up. This was the rise, fall, and comeback of Nicolas Cage, only on Golden Empire. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of icons who had it all, and what happened when they lost it. Let us know in the comments. Whose rise and fall should we tell next?